In AX 2012 R2, we developed a lot of new scenarios for new capabilities in process manufacturing and lean. In R3, our goal is not to replace those scenarios, but to create one demo scenario where you could illustrate our mixed mode capabilities, multi-site capabilities, all in one very compact and efficient example. In fact, we created two scenarios, one a very simple mixed mode multi-site, and a second more complex example with relatively same product structure, but it incorporates batch and serial traceability from the cradle to the grave, so to speak. So let's look at the data setup for this. So as I mentioned, there are two scenarios, two product structures, routings that have been set up. The first one is the simple example for the D11, that is a laser projector. And if we look at the bill of material designer on this, then what we'll see is that you have a discrete item being comprised of some purchased parts, another discrete subassembly, but this power supply is a lean manufactured Kanban product. So you'll see the creation of a scheduled Kanban for, or multiple scheduled Kanbans for that item. This plastic case is actually a batch item that is built in a different facility. So whereas the D11 is built in Site 1, when we look at the plastic case, we'll see that that is built in Site 3. So when we do the planning on that, we should generate the transfer orders and so forth. So this is the simple example. Now, when we get to the more complex example, that is this item, the D11, D0111, so 111. And if we look at the bill of material designer for that, you'll see it looks identical for these Site 1 items. So purchased parts, discrete subassembly, same exact Kanban item. What's different is that the D111 is both batch and serial controlled. The P111 is batch controlled. And again, if we go to the product structure for P11, what you will see is the D11 is a bill of material. When we go to look at the P11, what we'll see is that that is actually a product formula, and this product formula has associated with it for Site 3, and the two items that are on this formula, number one, it has some standard capabilities for scaling and so forth, so you can illustrate a formula versus a bill of material here. There is also co-products. There are co-products associated with these items. Actually, the co-product is on the D11, so if you'd like to show that capability, that's possible. And the big thing here is that this item here, this catalyst, is under batch control, and the batch control item then also has batch attributes. So we'll see that when we get into the quality order that is associated with the production item. But again, the M61 reports into the P111. Both of those are batch controlled. We've set these up so that we'll have automatic batch number creation at the important parts in the process. And again, the D111 is also serial controlled. So let's go through and illustrate this example. The best way to do that, or the simplest way to do that, is through the sales order explosion. I'm going to go ahead and just illustrate the more complex item, you'll see that the other product structure, D11, you'll walk through the same exact steps. The difference is that you won't get the batch control capabilities associated with this particular item that you'll see in this illustration. So we're going to go ahead and create a sales order for the D111, and from here we'll go ahead and do the product explosion. When we do this product explosion, what you'll see is the creation of discrete orders, lean orders, and process orders, all in one very compact example. So as you see here, I've generated the plan through the explosion, which is generating discrete production orders. It generated a planned Kanban order and resulting material supply purchase orders for the components required in the Kanban order. And then we come around to the composite case, which, as I mentioned, is produced in site number 3. So we have a batch order in site 3. We have transfer orders to move that back to site 1 so that that can be built into the top level assembly. So again, using this explosion to firm all of the orders, what you'll see then is the creation, taking those planned Kanban, planned batch orders, planned discrete orders, and firming them into the objects that we can then execute on. Okay, you might notice that when we firm the order for the L50 Kanban. The requirement quantity was 100, and we build the L50 in Kanban quantities of 20. So you'll see that AX took that requirement for 100, split that into 5 individual scheduled Kanbans for 20 units each. So if we come through to execute this order and we look at the purchased items, this resin item, you'll see we've created a planned purchase order here we firmed into a real purchase order here for this particular item. Let's go ahead and confirm that. And then we will receive this. As we do the receipt, you'll see that we create a quality order. So there's a quality order associated with the M61 item, and this is configured to be automatically generated upon receipt of the particular item. So if we come in here and we do the product receipt and receive all, we will generate the quality order. And on that quality order, you'll see that the test results that are in the acceptable range are between 10, this is a concentration test, it's between 10% and 30% with a target range of 25. So in this particular item, we will go ahead and perform a quality test. And as I mentioned, we're receiving the product right now. The quality order is configured to be generated after the receipt transaction. So we've received the item. Let's go ahead into that quality order. As I mentioned, the quality order has a test associated with it. The test is desired target value of 25% concentration. It can be between 10 and 30. And you'll also notice that this item has batch attributes for the concentration. Those will be updated when we do the quality test. It's got a quality sampling of 1, and if we say that this is a 27, by the way, this is test results set up as an integer. So make sure you enter a value in there of 1 and something between 10 and 30 to get a positive result. And we go ahead and validate the order. Of course, from here you could do the certificate of analysis, nonconformance flows, and so forth. But we'll see that we've updated that batch attribute for item number M61. So as we go back and then execute the production order for the composite case, we'll come in. This production order has been set up to have, since we have 2 components on there, the M62 is not under batch control. So we've set that up to be automatically back flushed as we do the start transaction. So the M61 will be back flushed, the labor will be back flushed to keep the transactions low on this. And then we just come in and do the production pick list. So we'll notice that this M61 has been issued already, and that journal has been created. So if we come in and look at our M62 has been issued. The M61 is yet to be created. Make sure we put the consumption quantity in here. And now we can go in and look at which batch number we would like to reserve against this. Of course, we can look at the batch number for this particular item. We can look at the batch attributes associated with that. Oh yeah, this one has batch attributes of 27. It's above our target. Let's go ahead and reserve that line and post the order. And now what we have is really full traceability, not to which batch number of the resin was issued into the production order, but we also have that attachment of that batch attribute. You can do a report as finished here, and we're done with our production processing. So from here, what we would typically do prior to the R2 release was we would go back and we would do the inventory transactions and the trace transaction here for this particular item. But now what we have is the capability in inventory to do a more full track trace, all from one particular form. So as we look at this, one of the things that you might have realized is that when you have a very complex product structure that goes from site 3 to site 1 and all of the transactions associated with that processing, in order to get to the point where you're producing and shipping those 3 sales, the sales order serial numbers may be transaction intensive. So what we've done is set up an example here of the full track trace capability that can be reviewed from the new item tracing form that was released in the R2 release, CU8, I believe. So as we look at this particular item, I can look up, this is a previous order that we did all the transactions for. We've got a batch number here. We've also got serial numbers. So this was an order quantity of 3. If I wanted to track serial number 2, and I wanted to track backward on that, then the track trace will give me the full cradle to grave traceability of this particular item. Serial number 2 went into this sales order. It was created by this production order. When we get down to our batch controlled item, which is our composite case, the P111, we've got our batch number here. All of that is maintained through the transfer and receipt transactions, goes all the way down to our resin item here, which shows not just the batch number here, but also the purchase order from which it came. So again, we can, all of the transactions of the D111 and the P111. All of those transactions can be reproduced with that full production order. But again, if you want to get to a certain point and produce the batch order for the case in Site 3, show the traceability for that, and then come back and, without having to do the other transactions, do the traceability example for a previous transaction set. Then you can see that this is all set up for you in the example here on 3 serial numbers and batch numbers of this particular item.